Hey everybody, it's Charlie from DM Sound, and today we've got the sound system demo on the 2024 BMW i5 and its 17-speaker Bowers & Wilkins audio system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at how the infotainment system works, take a look at audio inputs, adjustments, and controls. We're going to look at where the speakers are located, and then head out on the road and listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Now, if you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning and you just want to hear the music, click ahead in the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And I recommend listening with headphones so you can hear exactly what I hear in the driver's seat. But before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Entirely new model from BMW here, the i5. And I quite like that BMW is making electric versions of their traditional gasoline models and making them the same. I like how the i5 is essentially just an electric 5 Series. There's not a whole bunch of weirdness to it. I will point out that there's a subtle difference between the sound systems of the two. The i5 has a subwoofer in the back, whereas the 5 Series will have subwoofers under the two front seats. This is because the battery's underneath the electric versions of the cars. We've seen the same thing in the i7 and the 7 Series, so really that should be the main difference between the two cars, and then the fact that this one's going to be much quieter, or at least a little quieter, cruising at 70 miles per hour. Now, we always do these tests with lossless, uncompressed WAV files on a USB stick plugged directly into the system, and high-quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults as the audio engineers intended, so let's take a look at those now. The most up-to-date version of iDrive here in the i5. You can see a big media screen that we're on now, but we're going to go back and control it with this rotary knob. And let's go straight to media, and then over to the right to sound. And after we've reset the settings here, we're greeted at the top with a Logic 7 surround activation. Now, I'm really surprised that Bowers & Wilkins is utilizing Logic 7 here. I've never been a fan of how it sounded. I don't think Logic 7 has ever helped a car out to sound better. And usually we don't see Logic 7 in Bowers & Wilkins. We usually only see them in Harman Kardon systems, so I'm a bit curious why we have it here. But it is on by default, so let's listen to how it sounds in the different surround intensities, and then we'll turn it off. So Logic 7 Surround is going to give you much more of an artificial surround experience. I recommend, if you really care about listening to your music true to the recording, leave that off. Below that, we have Experience the Sound. We'll come back to that. You've got adjustments for treble and bass, as well as front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance. And then something I love to see, this rotary knob is not as intuitive as it is in other BMWs, but we've got a 9-band equalizer. I think that's very important for a luxury branded audio system to have that customization there. Even if you don't need it, it's good to have it. But let's back the track up a little bit here and listen to our sound, our treble and bass. This is another thing I like that BMW and Bowers & Wilkins has been doing, this Experience the Sound. If you're someone who doesn't have a 5.1 or 7.1 channel surround high quality music streaming disc plugged right in readily available, you can use this Experience the Sound to get a quick flex on your sound system. Let's check it out. So it's really cool to experience what your sound system is capable of and the different surround elements to it. Because yeah, we've got these test tracks here, but they don't really emphasize the surround capabilities of a lot of cars. We do have one track though that we're going to play in a minute here that will test out the 5.1 capabilities. So that's all you got for audio controls or adjustments there. 4 audio controls all over the place today. You've got a volume knob right here that you sort of slide with your finger. It's pretty intuitive when you're using the touchpad or this kind of rotary knob. You've also got a clicker on the top right of the steering wheel here. For track selection, no physical control around here. Actually, up there, but I should say, you've got it down here by the volume knob, so you do have a physical way to do track controls there. You can obviously use the touch screen or the rotary knob, depending on what your screen you're on, and you can use this toggle right below the volume controls on the right side of the wheel. For audio inputs in the i5, you have FM and Sirius XM satellite radio, but no AM radio support. Just to confirm, do we have HD radio? Yep, we've got HD radio on there as well. You've got support for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You've got USB-C data ports up there. And that's it. So what does that mean you're missing? Well, I'm not seeing any sort of streaming services built in. That's not to say BMW couldn't add them through their app screen here, but I'm not seeing any right now. You also don't technically have wired Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You have to do it wirelessly. And no 3.5mm auxiliary input jack or, like I said, that AM radio. Speaker locations. As I said, this is a 17 speaker system in this one because we're down a subwoofer compared to the 5 Series. Starting in the bottom left, you've got a woofer there, 1 mid-range up here, 2 tweeter, 3 mid-range and tweeter up front, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the other door. Coming into the back, you've got 9, 10 tweeter mid-range, 11, 12 on the other side, 13, 14, 15, 16 tweeters and mid-ranges up in the deck lid. And if we come into the trunk, we're looking at number 17, a subwoofer in here. I don't know if you can actually visually see it. It's probably buried up under that panel there. Before we get on the road, let me toss up the 5.1 demo track here from immersiveaudioalbum.com, and let's see how our 5.1 works. Now, mind you, this is with Logic 7 surround off, so you don't need to have that on to do 5.1 audio support. In fact, you probably shouldn't.
Welcome to the Immersive Audio Album channel configuration test. Left. Center. Right. Left surround. Right surround. The Immersive Audio Album channel configuration test is now complete. Hej då!
That is what a 5.1 system should sound like. If you're in a car and you've got 5.1 capable music, you should have very distinct channels like that. Did you hear? And hopefully it's coming through on the video because of these binaural microphones, but left was very much there. Center was very much here. It wasn't bleeding into any other channels. Then when you heard the LFE, the subwoofer, you could barely hear the voice come out because it was only playing through that subwoofer. And it wasn't like a lot of these cars that try to downmix 5.1 or something. So very impressive showing from BMW and Bowers and Wilkins for your 5.1 audio. But let's head out on the road. speakers are impressive. I do have a bit of a problem with the tuning. It's very bright for my taste, so we're hearing a lot out of the front and that treble and the high range, but I'm not getting a lot of power coming through from that subwoofer in the back. Now, that's very mendable from the equalizer. You got that 9-band equalizer in there. You can soften things on the top, bring out a little bit more power. It's just a bit surprising that we don't have that from the factory engineers. For this next track, we will turn the bass all the way up, see what sort of rumble we can get out of that trunk-mounted subwoofer. Yeah, see, that's not super impressive. I'm feeling it in my legs, but I'm not really seeing it in the mirrors. I think for a premium system like this, an upgraded system, people would be expecting a little bit more from full bass there. wrapping up my thoughts on the BMW i5 17-speaker Bowers and Wilkins system. First of all, before I get into the breakdown here, I do want to point out, yes, we're not cruising at 70 miles per hour on the highway like our normal tests. We've got limited time and limited geography with this car, so I'm not able to go out and do the full proper highway test. However, I'm a little bit more okay with it with this car because it is so quiet, even up at higher speeds, that I really don't think that cruising at 70 miles per hour is going to degrade the sound quality anything significant. So just pointing that out there. Next, yes, I understand the car has the 9-band equalizer, and I do really, really appreciate that as an owner. However, I can't evaluate the sound system based on how you could make it sound and put the tweaks in there and change things, because everyone's going to have their personal preferences on how they like a sound system. Your favorite sound system and your sound system settings are probably not going to be the exact same favorite as mine. So that's why I evaluate based on what the sound system comes delivered to, because that's what the audio engineers intended it to sound like. And based on the tuning that we're getting with this car, it's a very strong A system. I really like the speakers. I like the 5.1 surround capability and power out of it. I just don't love the tuning. You've got woofers in the doors, you've got a subwoofer in the back. This should be a very strong, soulful musical experience. Instead, I'm getting a lot of high-end precision from all these tweeters, but it's leaving me wanting a little bit more from a wow standpoint. So definitely happy with the system, strong A, but the i7 is stronger than this, that's for sure. And it makes sense. I mean, the 7 Series is the more expensive car, and it makes sense that that one sound system would be even better than this. So thank you all so much for watching. I am going to try to get a chance to test the normal 5 Series on this trip as well, but if I cannot, then we'll get that one at a future date. I was able to do a quick members only sound test on this car as well, so check the link below if you do want to see that. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.